conversation of the Bitcoin universe and how Bitcoin is well, it as the title says, it looks like Bitcoin is moving west. Here is Corey.
Hey, yeah.
Oh, hey,
So,
that's
yeah,
not you.
hey, what's
That's
going on?
you.
Hey, what's up?
Hey.
Yeah, so yeah, the first one we're kicking off here is from CNBC. Found it. Basically, it's talking about how China's hate relationship with cryptocurrency. Basically, so a lot of cryptocurrency miners
Didn't know you
operate
were
out of
gonna say
China,
that.
and we'll get to Bitcoin and crypto. I'll explain a little bit more about that after, maybe talk a bit about the article here. But basically,
Mhm,
the idea is that China does not like the idea that there's a lot of cryptocurrency being mined in China.
mhm.
Again, I think of a whole bunch of things. One of the obvious reasons China can't not really regulate Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency blockchain that is Bitcoin. And again, I know I said a few words there. Maybe not everybody knows exactly what those are. We'll get into that in a moment, but I'll continue with this part here. So basically, the long and short of it is there is people in China use a whole bunch of computers for a lot of computing power to uh, discover and mine cryptocurrency. This one in this case, Bitcoin, and it takes up a lot of energy, and the government there cannot regulate it because it's a decentralized type of currency. We'll get to that too. And so basically, China's like, "Hey, we're done with this here. We're cracking down." They've done a lot of arrests, and they're just not happy with that. So long story short with that is the Bitcoin miners are trying to find other places to go, and they're looking everywhere from countries that are nearby China to the further west over here, including places like Texas, as it would be in this article here. So, um, and I don't know. I do know some Texans. I would be curious to find out if they are what they would say to this. Because we do know, if we've spoke a little bit before recently about how people that mine Bitcoin and have bigger operations mining any type of cryptocurrency, it
Mhm.
takes a lot of power to do. There's a
Sure.
lot of computing power involved, but there's also a decent amount of energy spent on just cooling the computers and everything else involved. So where I'm going with that is there's a decent energy demand, and we know Texas has had some issues with their energy
A few.
relatively recently.
Mhm.
And if a whole bunch of Bitcoin operations set up in Texas, which let's not beat around the bush either. When people mine Bitcoin, they don't always set it up as a legit business. They just set up a bunch of computers and start mining Bitcoin
Because who
because
needs to have a business
it's
when you can.
crypto, right? You're not
Yeah.
exactly setting up a storefront and selling anything. So
No.
that's
Absolutely not.
so anyway. Yeah. What do you think, Mike? I mean,
I
geez.
so here's
I
my
mean,
thing.
not only just leaving China, but coming possibly. They're going everywhere, of course, but maybe come to the U.S. and
Well, look,
Texas.
cryptocurrencies and especially Bitcoin and others that are out there right now, there's a couple other things that go caveat dovetail into the power consumption, which
Yep.
is a lack of video cards. Right now, you can't get good video cards because the cryptocurrency miners have been buying them up in droves. Now, the other thing is that now modern video cards, even compared to older 1 and 2 year old video cards, are fairly power hungry. And what I mean by power hungry, your average PC, average gaming PC runs around 750 watts for a power supply.
Yeah.
Now, that's comparative to your stereo system at home. Okay, a 750-watt stereo system is considered almost I would say, a mid to almost professional grade stereo system, right? But on average, your average grade video card, which is going to do crypto mining, is going to use 350 watts of power. Now, you multiply that by a rack server of about 10, which is these guys usually set up. They send 10 up in unison
Or
or in,
more, a lot more.
and that's a lot of power. Now, if you're talking about guys that are going out and doing serious cryptocurrency mining, and these are people that have hundreds of cards,
Yeah.
okay, the multiples go up, 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 and up. And there's three other things that are associated with that. Number one, anytime you put that type of power down in computing, you're going to create heat. So now you also have to worry about cooling.
Yep.
Okay. So whether you're talking about air cooling an entire space or what you want to do, you have to worry about a whole nother, and that is probably the second most power consumptive thing in your house, like your air conditioning, so on and so forth. Those are not units that generally, take less energy, they take more.
Yeah.
And the more you use it, the longer the period, the less it gets to rest, and the more energy you end up
And
spending.
and believe me, they're gonna want to cool it because if you're not really into how computers work, a quick along and short there too would be if the hotter the computer gets, the more it might throttle itself. The program might the physical device you're talking about might actually turn down its productivity, let's call it, so that it will not injure itself, right? And it'll
Right.
keep working. So actually, by the Bitcoin farm, let's call it, being too hot or too warm, it actually will make less Bitcoin. So believe me, they're gonna want to keep it cool. So yeah, electricity just for cooling, as Mike's getting at, is not gonna be.
No,
It's substantial
it's
to them.
substantial.
They
And if you
want it to be
follow,
cool. So
and if you follow guys like Linus Tech, and all these other guys that do major run ups on gaming PCs to see how these things thermal throttle when they're running too hot,
Yep.
the efficiencies that are in place. But the real kicker is 20% of the power in Texas comes from wind, and it's considered that Texas has some of the cheapest energy available. However, as Corey alluded to, it doesn't discount the fact that they also went through massive shortages
Yeah.
during a winter cycle in which everyone relied on heaters, in which heaters are also very, very, very power consumptive. So my thing here is, I still have a major concern about how the infrastructure is going to handle this adaptation of a rush to green EV technology, i.e., if we're looking at roughly, I think it was 75,000 Ford F-150s are now on pre-order for their electric version for the Lightning, right? If you look at suddenly, I'm going to predict that within this year, maybe we see 250,000 to 500,000 new EVs on the road, okay, from other manufacturers, other than all of a sudden about the 500,000 that are put on the road across the globe by Tesla, right? And for the United States to absorb those kinds of things into their infrastructure, I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Okay, because it's one of those things that I don't see this being hey, let's just move it all to Texas because Texas is, as you said, is welcoming it with open arms because they want to have a deregulated electricity system and a deregulated open market society, capable of luring away cryptocurrency. Fantastic. Is that the perfect storm, right? Do you get yourself in the situation where is that going to really work out well for Texas? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, just looking through this article, I know that they've got some experts on that they interviewed here, and it says one of the things, Texas is not only some of the cheapest electricity in the world, but some of the cheapest in the globe. So
Yeah.
Again, that's basically saying if you've got, and this is not a small amount of money, but if you got 30 million, 40 million, you can be a premier miner in the U.S. And that sounds like a huge investment. Obviously, 30 million is a lot of money.
Yeah.
But the amount of money to be made in crypto is, well, it has a lot of potential. And actually, that was just the next thing I was going to really talk about. Just a second ago, with potential was the fact that cryptocurrency, and this dovetails into the next thing I was talking about. But go ahead, you got something else to add?
Okay, no, because I was going to say when you say that
before I go there, you got
when you said that, the law of diminishing returns came into my mind because I see where the price has gone, and then you wonder at what point do other people stop entering the marketplace at what value, right? Because obviously it's so competitive that you could be running a mining rig and you don't get the same share of Bitcoin that you used to get, say, 3-4 years ago because there's so many entrants into the marketplace, right? So that comes to mind. But then the other part of it is Texas is also, they are not foreign to high-tech ventures being in Texas. But I wouldn't know if I consider crypto mining "quote unquote" high tech because it's just a bunch of video cards. So go ahead. I'm sorry. It just popped in my head.
What the next thing was kind of just a real quick, and this is going to be quite watered down, but just to give you a little bit of an idea, like what is crypto basically? And crypto, again, this is something Mike and I have been kind of following, and some of our acquaintances from back in the day actually did some mining, and so we're kind of thinking about it too. But I haven't mined any, and actually, I don't know, Mike. I don't actually own any. Do you actually own any crypto? But anyway.
I mean, I have the skill set to put together a crypto rig. And
yeah. No,
like
that's not. It's more for me getting the hardware. But anyway.
Yeah.
But basically, so the thing that maybe keep in mind, but thinking about big picture here, cryptocurrency is not physical currency,
right?
In the sense that you take out your wallet and boom, you got a piece of crypto, or a dollar, or a peso, whatever it might be. It's not a physical thing. It's a software. And it is a program that is designed in such a way that it might hear the term blockchain being thrown around too. And blockchain, again, is also another type of technology, another type of software. The idea is it's a decentralized program that there's not really one, there's no bank that owns it. There's not a company that owns it. It's a technology where the value of the type of blockchain that you're using, because there could be different blockchains. Again, they're just programs, right? They're different kind of crypto. You guys maybe know by now is Ethereum. There's Bitcoin, of course. There's Dogecoin. There's tons of different type of cryptos.
Yeah.
And going with that though is what I kind of mention off the bat is not that there's a market in the sense that there's a physical like demand for something like a raw resource or something. Like
Mhm.
crypto is given its value by how people perceive how valuable it is.
Yes.
Right? I mean, we talked about NFTs, non-fungible tokens. Again,
Which we're going to talk about again, I think, next week, too.
another type of let's say digital good you can purchase with cryptocurrency. But
Right.
again, in the same sense that, and I'll use this analogy just as a general thing, and I'm just saying it because it makes sense to me, right? Is that when I walk into somewhere that maybe sells like a piece of art, let's call it, or a piece of furniture or something, right? Somebody does apply a value to it, but I decide how valuable it is, in the sense that if I'm gonna purchase it or not. And then maybe if this is an auction, let's say, right? Somebody else decides, hey, actually, I think it's more valuable than you just said it is, so I'll say it's worth more there too. So, in a way, it's how valuable people think the crypto is
Mhm.
helps it go up and value. And so, when you may hear people say, you know, I've invested in Bitcoin or I invested in Dogecoin or whatever it might be, the other currencies, when you also hear other people say, well, tomorrow it could be plummet price, you know, you
It's
lose
a
all your
big risk.
money.
It's a big
It's a
risk.
very
It's a big risk.
volatile investment in the sense that it's hard to track and it's a bit new, but it's hard to track because
Sure.
there's not like you can't say, oh, metals are good to invest because they're scarce. So I'm going to invest in metals.
Okay, so
Well,
we'll see, but now
and that's a physical thing, right?
no, yeah, but look, I have to say this now because markets have always been markets, and we've always
Of
assigned
course.
value. Look, gold necessarily, if you found a planet full of gold, it would devalue the
Oh, of
gold.
course.
You know, the gold reserves around the world.
Mhm.
So we've always assessed value to things that we find currently useful, which is strange about Bitcoin.
Or scarce.
Or scarce, which I know where you're going with this
Yeah,
because
I wasn't.
it's so weird that Bitcoin really is it doesn't exist. So but yet we're still giving it value.
Yes.
So yeah,
And it is quite valuable. I mean,
Sure.
what is it today, dude? Is it like
39,000.
39
I think
for one Bitcoin? Yeah.
I think so. Something like that.
Yeah. So they
Well, let me check that out.
the other thing that again, if you're not
$38,780.
38,000 US, $38,780 US dollars, like right now.
Right now.
Um,
Ouch.
the other one of the negative things I've
Damn.
seen online and read about too is people that again. So now let's say you invested in some. You have to get into the market somehow, right? Say you wanted to buy some Bitcoin. You would take actually in this case, I'd take my US dollars,
Mhm.
my real actual currency, and then if I wanted to just buy a Bitcoin instead of mining for one, I would go to an online dealer where I could do that, and then I would exchange my US dollars for Bitcoin.
I would
I would
never
buy
pay.
Bitcoin.
I would never right now pay $38,000
No.
for a
I'm
thing that I can't own.
And you can own fractions of a Bitcoin, right?
Mhm.
So while we just said one Bitcoin is $38,800,
Mhm.
you don't go into, since it's not a physical dollar, right? You can go in and own like a fraction of a Bitcoin,
I was just thinking,
or
like, if I went in there with
fractions,
like,
you know.
if I went in there with 38 cents, I could own like 0.00001 of a Bitcoin.
But you'd have it.
I'd have it. I'd have it.
You'd
Though.
own some Bitcoin.
I'd have that Bitcoin. I'd have it.
Yeah.
It'd be mine.
The
I'm rich.
downfall
I'm a happy
of
wife,
the
though.
fact that the blockchain is decentralized and encrypted actually is the fact that actually when you own a Bitcoin, you need to keep it somewhere, and you keep it in a digital wallet, right? Just like
Mhm.
your regular wallet, but it's digital, and you can have it in your phone or something here, or
Lose
a hard
the
drive
digital
somewhere.
wallet, it's gone forever.
But that's exactly where I was going with that too. Like Mike said, is if you own that, and let's say it's on your hard drive, and you've encrypted your hard drive because you want people to get in there or whatever, and then maybe you lose your hard drive, you've literally lost whatever Bitcoin or crypto is on there because
it's gone.
Because you can't go to the
See ya.
bank and say, you know, can I get my money out? Because there's no bank to go to. It's decentralized. It doesn't work like that. So that's a negative. That's certainly a negative.
So here's the thing. I mean,
it is different. It is different.
Bitcoin.
If you guys got questions, put them in chat.
Of course.
Or in the video later. You know, put them in like specific questions. But anyway, yeah.
Anyhow, so I think the thing is that right now, if you're a person that's hedging on the edge of Bitcoin, right, and you're looking at the fact that there's going to be an influx of Bitcoin miners possibly in Texas, I would actually myself, I would probably go in and start buying wholesale like actually not retail positions, but I would actually look for warehouse districts and so on and so
Yeah.
forth. Smaller, like 3,000, 5,000 square foot buildings that could be subdivided to house these people with ample infrastructure for, say, like internet connections and power connections. Because right now, if you have that type of property, that might be something that you're going to see a surge in. And where might you see those surges? Well, places like Houston, Austin, Dallas, Fort Worth area, even places as far out as Lubbock. It'd be real interesting. So I used to live in Texas for 3.5 years. Nice place. Yeah, I like Florida better. Sorry.
Yeah.
Anyhow, we got to wrap up that conversation.
Yeah, it's real basic. So yeah, we'll move on.
We will move on, but we got more to talk about. Remember, like, subscribe, and follow, because we're going to go back to kind of one of the places that we like to talk about something.
Yes.
So I found this, and